Hey, I thought you were setting up when you were talking about sending out spaceships. I thought you were setting up a segue to the 40th anniversary of the first moon landing.
Oh, that's right. God. Oh, I have such vivid memories of the first moon landing, and the fact that it was 40 years ago just makes me feel terribly old.
Do you actually have one of those flashbulb memories of what you were doing when Neil Armstrong? What were you doing?
I remember.
And we're talking. By the way, we're talking about when Neil Armstrong stepped out of what was it called, the Eagle module, onto the surface of the moon. This was July 20th, 1969.
Wow. Yeah. Neil Armstrong. I guess people still know who he was.
So where?
So 69. This was the summer between my junior and senior year in high school, and some friends and I were taking an advanced history of Western civilization class or something during the summer because we'd heard that the person who was teaching it was doing it as kind of a real easy, fun, summary gut course, and then we wouldn't have to take the really hard one. During senior year. It was a big mistake. It just, set back my education by many years, and I'm still trying to make up for it. But, so my parents had gone with the rest of my family on a camping trip, I think, and left me alone in the house. And one of my friends came over, and we were working on our projects. And then I remember we realized, oh yeah, it's the moon landing. So we turned on the black and white TV, and we're seeing the moon landing, and then stepped out in the backyard and then kind of looked up at the moon, and I remember this feeling of like, wow, way out there, this guy's stepping out on the moon, and that's what's on TV here. And then I remember after that walking up to an A&W root beer stand and getting a root beer. So that's my flashbulb memory. It's more stroboscopic memory.
So my flashbulb memory is I was up in Nantucket with my family, but we didn't have a TV in our house. We were in this little cottage in a village called Wawinit, way out on one end of the island. And so we had a neighbor who did have a TV, so I walked over there, and there were a bunch of people jammed into this living room. I remember I was lying on the floor right in front of the TV because there was no room on chairs or couches, and just staring at that, and it was a tiny TV, really grainy image, and I think the image was especially grainy because it was, it's being transmitted from the moon, and it was, I just remember really being awestruck, even though at that time I was 16 years old, and I was going through my sullen, unimpressed teenager phase. But I was really impressed by this, and I remember, so I was into sci-fi then, and I just thought, this is our manifest destiny. This is our, just what Armstrong said, this is the first step of humanity into the great unknown of outer space, and of course it hasn't worked out that way.
No, we decided to have the Vietnam War instead.
Yeah, and it was, so that was sort of the best aspect of science and technology, going to the moon. And but then for me and a lot of people in our generation, I think science and technology became associated with warfare and nuclear weapons and industrial pollution and all those sorts of things. And
the scientist is the evil force, and then it got it kind of grew out of the whole 60s kind of mentality, and then it got ingrained in the movies too. So like you have the evil scientist coming to try to capture poor E.T.
Right. Although I remember the scientist who was the head of that group was that French director who was what was it, Truffaut? Anyway.
I know you mean. But that's a different movie, right? That's
no, that was E.T.
Close Encounters with the Third Kind.
Oh, was it Close Encounters?
I think.
Okay.
If that's the one I'm thinking of. But yeah, they were good. There were some good scientists.
Oh, Peter Coyote it was.
Oh,
in
okay.
E.T. And he was actually pretty sympathetic. So he wasn't.
Yeah.
They were scary at first, but he had this sort of childlike fascination with the idea of extraterrestrials too.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of space being our destiny has really kind of faded. So, it looks to me, I mean, George Bush talked about putting humans on Mars. Barack Obama, I guess, has paid lip service to that goal. But at this point, I think it's highly unlikely it'll happen within any kind of conceivable time frame.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should.
First now.
Yeah, I don't think it should happen.
No.
Which I hate to say that because I still love the idea of space as this great adventure, but it's just obscene to spend that kind of money on these things when we have so many tremendous problems here at home.
Yeah, well, certainly if it's spent at the expense of the problems, but I guess I'm not convinced that we couldn't do both if we really wanted to.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, space, yeah.
But just going